Hi, I'm Elizabeth Clark, and this is 2310. Can you imagine having more energy every day? So we start all these asking ourselves how we're doing. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst day ever, 10 being the best, but focusing on 5, we're going to ask ourselves, how are we doing? Anything below 5, remember, we're going to be in fight or flight. We're going to know that we're there because we're angry, we're scared, we're judging others, we're really being harsh with ourselves. So we're always going to ask ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're above 5, you're stellar. But below 5, we're going to ask ourselves, hey, are we safe? And if we are safe, we're going to ask ourselves, do we want to be in fight or flight? Now, this is when kids always say to me, like, yes, Elizabeth, I want to be in fight or flight because I feel safer, I feel protected, I feel powerful when I'm angry or when I'm all hoodied up and I'm like, safe. So I want to talk to you before you make that decision. And you can always stay in fight or flight. It's totally your decision. So I want to talk to you about combat fatigue. So a while ago, they started studying why some soldiers did very well in battle and some didn't. And what they found was that the soldiers that did very well, when they're in battle, they were in fight or flight because they had to protect their lives and they had to be alert and ready to fight. But when they got out of battle, they were able to, and they didn't really know why these people were able to, but some of the soldiers were able to just pop right out of fight or flight after the battle and live life differently. So when they went into the barracks, when they talked to their families, when they went back home to their families, they weren't in fight or flight. So they had better relationships, they were able to focus, they did well at their jobs, their mental health was pretty solid, and they were happy. So then the soldiers that didn't do very well in battle, they looked at them and they found that when they left the battle, again, their fight or flight was activated during battle, but when they left battle, they just couldn't pop back out of fight or flight. They stayed there. And so they had all these problems in their relationships. They couldn't focus. They didn't do as well in their jobs. And their mental health suffered. They had depression and anxiety. And so what they saw this difference, and then they said, why does this make such a huge difference in their ability to be good soldiers? And what they came up with was, it was all an issue of fuel. So we think of fuel as what runs our cars. So when we think of us as needing fuel, sometimes it doesn't resonate as much. But I want you to think of, it's a little simplified, that every morning you wake up and you have a full tank of gas. You have all the fuel you need for your day so that you can take care of your body, you can go to school, you can go to your job, you can do your chores, you can hang out with people, you can have fun. And you have just about enough fuel for the day. But if you're in fight or flight, it takes so much energy to be in fight or flight because your heart rate is going, you've got adrenaline pumping, so you're ready for a battle, which takes an awful lot of energy. So if you're in fight or flight during your day, instead of having a full tank of fuel, it gets used really, really, really quickly. And then you have a lot less fuel for the stuff you want for your day. Now, I wish we were born with fuel gauges. I think it would be so cool to have a fuel gauge right here so that when I was really getting mad about something, or if I was just super mad at somebody and I wanted to gossip about them, I could watch just how quickly my fuel was being used. So then I could make a decision. Do I really want to be using my fuel this way? So being in fight or flight constantly, or an awful lot, just uses a ton of fuel. To me, it would be like you driving your truck all over town and then coming home and saying, I think I should leave the engine on just in case I need to get going really fast. So you leave the engine on overnight. And nobody does that because it would cost a lot in fuel and it would end up hurting your engine. It just wears down your engine very quickly. When you're really in fight or flight, when you're like really scared, really angry at other people or yourself, it would be like as you left the car running, you put a brick right on the accelerator so that you just use tons of fuel. So one thing is, you do not have to worry that if you are not in fight or flight, that you will not be prepared in case something comes up. Our brain, remember, its main purpose is to keep us safe. So anytime it has any concern that there is any danger, it will pop you into fight or flight. You will always be able to go. So you don't have to worry that you will not be at the ready when you need to be. So I want you to think about the last 24 hours. Of your waking hours, what percentage of those of time were you afraid or angry or judging others or down on yourself? What percentage of the time were you any one of those things or all of those things? And then I want you to think of what percentage of that same 24 hours you were truly in any sort of danger. And I mean immediate danger, not something that might happen, but what percentage of the time were you in true danger? And often we'll find that we're in fight or flight a lot more than we're truly in any sort of danger. So I want you to just start thinking about that. How often you're in fight or flight, how often you're really in any true physical danger. Thank you for your time and attention. Remember, those are your power and your wealth when you're using technology.